Hello and welcome to Tori's Take Live, presented by Priority Health. I'm Tori Petrie. We are down to just 2 games left this season, which is crazy. It hasn't been the season the Lions hoped for at all. We saw that once again yesterday when the Lions lost by 3 touchdowns to the Tampa Bay Bucks, a team that doesn't have any playoff hopes of their own this year. It was a tough day for nearly everyone on that team. The defense was facing off against what has become a high-powered, even if turnover-prone, Bucks offense. Jameis Winston had 221 passing yards in the first quarter alone. For perspective, David Blau had 260 on the day. Chris Godwin had 121 yards, and he left the game with an injury. Rashad Perryman had 113 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Bucks had 10 plays of 20 yards or more in the game. At one point, Matt Patricia gathered the defense around and gave some sort of animated speech we could see from the press box. Herman Moore said on our post-game show after the game that they gave up so many yards in the passing game because they had to play a lot of man as a result of not getting enough pressure up front. So really nothing was working for them defensively. On the offensive side, they had 4 3-and-outs in 6 first-half possessions. They looked a little better in the third quarter, notching 191 yards after having just 56 the entire first half. But it still wasn't enough to climb out of a 3-touchdown hole, and turnovers in the fourth quarter ruined their shot at a comeback. It just wasn't a pretty game all around. Now, there's just 2 games to go. Of course, the team is still trying to win. Of course, guys are still trying to get good reps and put good stuff on tape, even if it's just simply for their own personal goals. But from a fan perspective, at this point in the season, for me, it's less about watching for the final outcome of a game and more about the individual performances of the players within the game. The Lions have had 21 injuries this season, which is a hefty number, even for a league where injuries are fairly common. While that may be to blame for a lot of their struggles this year, it also opens up spots for guys who don't usually get reps to get a lot more work. Obviously, third-string rookie quarterback David Blau is out there finding his way with second-stringer Jeff Driscoll on IR and Matthew Stafford still injured. Chris Lacey has a bigger role at wide receiver with Marvin Jones Jr. on IR. He had a 48-yard catch yesterday. Tight end Isaac Nada caught his very first NFL pass with TJ Hawkinson on IR. And even though we've seen linebacker Jelani Tavai already this season, he got his very first interception with Jared Davis on IR. Bo Scarborough didn't play against the Bucks, and Kerryon Johnson isn't eligible to come back from IR until this week, so that set things up for Wes Hills to score 2 touchdowns after being activated from the practice squad on Saturday. It's plays like those from players like that that we'll be watching for the rest of the way. Stick around because we've got a little Christmas cheer coming up for you in the Extra Point. We'll be back.
Josie is smarter than every person in every park in Michigan.
Checkmate.
Smarter than every person in the world. That's smart. Like choosing Priority Health Insurance.
Checkmate.
It's how smart people access a network that includes 97% of primary care doctors in Michigan.
End zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Oh, the Lions have got it! Gonna get hit. Gonna get sacked. Oh, this place is on fire now.
Last year, Mark finished last in his fantasy baseball league, so this year he brought his daughter to the draft.
Him?
Smart. Like choosing Priority Health Insurance. It's how smart people access a network that includes 97% of primary care doctors in Michigan.
Welcome back to Tori's Take Live, presented by Priority Health. Well, the Lions didn't give us much in the way of holiday cheer yesterday, so I'm bringing it today with our Extra Point segment where we take you around the league. We had a snow game in Kansas City yesterday as the Chiefs took on the Lions' next opponent, the Denver Broncos. And of course, with snow games usually come some pretty fun pre-game routines, and we saw that here as Chiefs wide receiver Demarcus Robinson gets into a snowball fight on the field before the game. Robinson is also a fellow former Gator like myself, so really I approve of the childlike glee in the snow here. And just because it's Christmas time, I included an extra point for you guys. It has literally nothing to do with football. It's just because I said earlier on another episode of this show that we would be involving Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You because it's the best Christmas song of all time. So here's what happened on a New York City subway after her show at Madison Garden yesterday.
Christmas tree, I
Man, that was just beautiful. You know what I would give to be able to be in that subway singing along with a bunch of other Mariah Carey fans singing The Queen of Christmas? Man, so great. I might have our production crew join in on our own rendition after this. They're shaking their heads, but we're going to do it. I love Mariah Carey, and instead of questions today, we're going to move on to our next segment, which we're actually going to do a little bit of looking ahead as we close out the season here on a couple points that fans are usually curious about this time of year. And so today we are looking at who the Lions' 2020 opponents will be. It's that time of year where teams are clinching things, and the Lions have clinched last place in the NFC North, and over in the NFC West, the Cardinals have clinched last place as well. So that means we pretty much know who the Lions are going to be playing next season. Of course, you have 6 games against divisional opponents, and then the Lions will take on the AFC South with the Texans and Colts at home, and the Titans and Jags on the road, and the NFC South with the Saints and Bucks at home, and the Falcons and Panthers on the road. Over there in the right-hand column where it says NFC West, that is confirmed to be the Arizona Cardinals. The Lions will face on the road next year because they are also last place in their division. And then on the left side at home, they will face the loser of the NFC East. That will either be the Redskins or the Giants, depending on who finishes last place in that division. So if you are looking forward to next season, there's that. You can start making your travel plans already. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in to Tori's Take Live, presented by Priority Health. It's hard to believe we just have 2 shows left of this to go. I'm looking forward to joining you guys for 2 more weeks here on Tori's Take. Thanks for joining us from Xfinity Studio. I'm Tori Petrie.